Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and in this case, talking about the situation in Argentina where the government is liquidating $800 million worth of real estate, $800 million worth of assets that belong to the Argentine government are now being sold, right? Well, that's interesting. I'm not saying it's either good or bad. It is, though, controversial. Guys, before I go on, if you want to learn about survival and preparedness, specifically for this sort of thing, I strongly recommend you get Surviving the Economic Collapse, my book based on the experience of going through just that, the economic collapse of Argentina. Unfortunately, very similar to things that you see happening right now, specifically with this, with liquidating assets. That's something that happened right before the economic collapse. More on that in a second, but also recommending survival skills. These two books will really help you get a lot better prepared. You have them in the links there below, available in Amazon. I think it's a discount for one of them now. I don't know if it's still the case or not, but go check it out. So, what is it? Look, it's very simple, and this is something that I just did for my Spanish channel. I have the Spanish version of the book as well here, in case you prefer that. English channel, but you probably... So I was explaining in my Spanish channel for my buddies, my compatriots from Argentina and around the world. Guys, this is happening all over the world. What you saw happen in Argentina with the economic collapse of Argentina, you are seeing it right now all over the world. What is it I mean? Is the world becoming Argentine? No, it's not just that. It's the way in which you slowly slide into a shadow of your former self. It's the way in which the developed countries, not the developing, the third world, no, the way in which the developing countries, the United States, Europe, Australia, all over the world, you see a shrinking of the middle class. The middle class is becoming less and less middle class and becoming more poor. In case you haven't noticed that, just check out how much you fill a shopping cart for the same amount of money. It's going to be a lot less. How much is the price of real estate? How much it costs to get a good education, quality health? Everything is significantly more expensive than before because you are becoming more poor. We are all becoming more poor, and you have to claw your way up that pyramid of society to stay on the same level or just go down. It is very tragic. It's very serious. But hey, that's what's happening all over the world. So that's why I believe that this kind of information helps you no matter where you are, because you are in that too. So, in the case of Argentina right now, liquidating $800 million worth of assets. This is what I describe in my books as you're selling your family heirlooms. You're selling grandma's jewelry, right? What I mean by this, it's controversial no matter what, and we'll get into it in a second, but it's controversial no matter what you do because it's something that you didn't earn yourself. This is something that as a new administration, you become president, you become governor, or whatever it is, and hey, okay, these are the assets that the government has right now. All right, okay, I could just sell these things. When you sell it, you're taking away from future generations the possibility of using that for something else, either selling it themselves, putting it for rent in the case of real estate, or just finding ways of using this asset in a way in which you may need it at that time, right? So you're taking away from the future. You're also spending something that you didn't earn yourself. You're taking advantage of the sacrifice that someone else did so as to get that asset maybe in the first place. Maybe the sacrifice made so as to retain that asset when things got tough. Maybe there was a time in which, oh man, we're really struggling. Should we sell these assets that we have? No. We'll find a way to get through without liquidating our assets, okay? We're not going to sell this. We're not going to strip away we won't decapitalize the country because we need money right now. We'll find a way without doing that. Maybe there's no other option. Maybe there is. Maybe it is something that you're doing so as to get a lot more in return. Let's say these $800 million are invested in better infrastructure, better roads, better interconnection, allowing more business to exist and getting things done better. Yeah, that is something that I see could potentially be. Now, if it's no, the thing is we have a lot of debt, so we have to pay whoever. Well, you know what? There's a lot of countries that have a lot of debt. The United States would be an example of a country that has a ton of debt. And it's a debt that's always growing. So you have countries that have debt. You have countries that are constantly growing in their debt. And then you have countries that have a more stable debt because you manage to balance your your books, like in the case of Argentina, which has reached a superavit of its books, so it's not spending a cent more than it actually produces. Why is it then that you have to go liquidate the assets, right? Oh, it's super necessary. Okay, is it really? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. It is, though, very controversial. It is not a good sign. When you have to go and sell your car, when you have to go and get another mortgage on your house, or or sell blood, or whatever extreme measure you're doing, yeah, I'm selling my grandpa's watch because I need the money. That's never good, and that's what Argentina is doing right now. Unfortunately, so we'll see if this is just to, for the better or for the worse. This same goes for privatizing companies that were in the hands of the states. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's done correctly, sometimes it's not. You have both cases. You have cases of companies that are state-run and owned. Why? Well, because it's really not good business. So who on earth would want to have a company that is really losing money? It's not going to be profitable. Oh, well, then you shouldn't have it. No, that's not how it works. There's times in which the government needs to do things which is not going to be economically viable, but it's still so much of a necessity that you have to accept. That's an expense that you have to minimize as much as possible, be as efficient with the use of the money as much as you can, but it's not going to be good business for a private investor, so you have to suck that up and do what you have to do. Sometimes it is. But in either way, in either case, it's about how it's done. Now, if you just give away a company, you just sell it for peanuts, because that's going to be a great deal for someone else, especially for a private investor, and that private investor just does horrible crap with that company and just fills their own pockets and basically steals from the government using that company that they now manage, well, that's not really good, is it? So you have both things. Just because a company is publicly run or privately run does not mean that it's been done correctly. Best example of this would be trains in UK. Is it private? Yes, it is. Trains in UK, Virgin, right. That's all very nice. It is the most expensive anywhere in the world. And it's yet one of the shittiest ones in the world. That doesn't add up, does it? In the case of Argentina, we had the trains with the same situation in both cases. We had the public trains that sucked. These suck. It's in the hands of the states. It was super cheap to travel, but it was terrible. And they were still stealing from that publicly owned company. So what is it that you do it? Well, you privatize it, right? That's the solution. Well, no, it wasn't. It was just someone else stealing, and maybe charging even more than before. So it was for a little bit better than it was. There was a little bit of investment, and then it was all just about stealing as much as you can, and it ended up in an actual tragedy when you had a horrible incident with the trains in Argentina and Buenos Aires, a very well-known one. And that was a scandal on its own, but that's what happens. It is not just a magical solution to just privatize everything. Nothing in the hands of the state will stay in the state, will all go private. That's not how you fix everything. It is a possibility. It may be the case for some cases, as long as it's properly run and controlled by those that should be controlling things, but it may well not be. So that's the case that we have right now. I hope it's for the better, but time will tell. Guys, you can only just look at this and try to learn from it as much as you can. For that, you have the books, you have the channel, and I'm here to help out in any questions and doubts that you may have. See you later. Take care.